This is Janet TV on the radio, and you're listening to Bring It In with Coach T, where we catch up with athletes and coaches from around the world. On today's show, we are going to talk about Ronda Rousey and her unforgiving last fight, as well as increasing popularity of women's UFC. So, Heather, if you haven't seen Rowdy Ronda Rousey fight, then you're definitely missing out. Her last fight against Alexis Davis, who she defeated in just 16 seconds, which is the second fastest knockout in history, in men's or women's. I know you watched this fight. What were your thoughts from the walk-out music to the fight itself?
Well, I really did enjoy the I Don't Give a Damn About Your Reputation song she walked out to. I did think that her opponent, what was her name again?
Alexis Davis.
Alexis Davis. I thought she had this grin on her face. I was like, she's either crazy or she has no idea what she's about to get into. She's either completely lost her mind psycho, or she's just along for the ride, Gomer Pyle. The 16-second ride, Gomer Pyle. She got her face kicked in by Rousey's fist. It was nasty. Nasty, nasty. I mean, that's the first time I'd ever seen her fight. It's the first time I'd heard of her. You know, I watched it because friends were watching it, and they were like, oh my gosh, this girl's amazing. Like, okay, well, whatever. Oh, God. It was painful. It was painful. All 16 seconds of it were painful to watch because she just owns that girl. She's a badass.
And they were able to show the fight on replay, the whole entire fight, over and over because it was just 16 seconds. Although it was a short fight, it was very entertaining and proved again why Rousey is the best at what she does. She's now 10-0 and still the bantamweight champion. She makes no excuses for herself and is taking some well-deserved time off. When she defeated Alexis, she actually had to get stitches in her hand.
Yeah, she busted her hand up and busting that girl's face.
But Heather, women's UFC is becoming more popular and being seen on the big stage, being placed at events with the men. How do you think this is affecting women's UFC, and do you think it will be something that continues to be popular?
Well, I mean, we had talked about female athletes before, and, you know, do they have to be likable and all this other stuff, and we talked about why women have to be, you know, this certain model. I think when we talked about Hope Solo, you know, you can be freaking crazy, and you don't have to be liked if you're good, and that's what Rousey is. A lot of people don't like her. I mean, they finally started cheering for her because she doesn't care. So she's a straight honey badger, you know, like, she just goes out there, kicks the crap out of these girls, and walks away, you know, double birding everybody saying, well, I did it my way, you know, so she doesn't care. I think UFC, they're genius. I mean, they took a sport that was non-existent to make it, you know, this, where they're paying $55 per pay-per-view. You know, they're doing it right in that they're integrating the women into the men in these pay-per-view events. So it's not like, oh, you're watching women's UFC. You're watching UFC, and there are men's and women's fights alternating, and that's awesome. So that's the way to go. It's the way it should be. I mean, it was as fun as any other fight to watch, you know, and it seemed seamless. It seemed natural, and I think it's absolutely going to help with the integration into women into sports that are predominantly male. I mean, she's doing nothing to helping because she just got an ESPY for the top female athlete of the year. So she's doing something right. They're getting a lot of notoriety, and I guarantee you Dana White is loving that cash cow.
Well, the Ultimate Fighter is where it all started, and how Ronda Rousey being one of the coaches, how it all got started as far as putting him on the UFC. But Ultimate Fighter will be starting the first all-women season, airing September 10th, and the 20 fighters are coming from around the world to compete. So the reality series will feature a women's 115-pound tournament to determine the first ever UFC women's strawweight champion.
Strawweight, that's awesome.
I love the shows that promote strong women. Heather, do you think this all-female season will help women's UFC?
I don't know. I think people will watch it initially, but if it becomes this Real Housewives, you know, Wild Girls show where it's just nothing but drama and bickering and crying, I don't think so. There's a little bit of drama in the guys. Obviously, they don't like each other, and they're all, testosterone. They get in fights outside, outside of the ring. But it could be good. It depends on how they handle it. It depends on the females. It depends on the fight. I think it could go one of two ways. It could completely put people off, or it could get those guys being like, oh my gosh, those girls are actually, they're doing work. They're doing everything they should be doing. They're not taking the easy way out. They're busting their ass and they're getting in the ring and they're fighting. So, it'll be interesting to see. I'm really crossing my fingers that it definitely goes the more all business route with a little bit of drama, not a little bit of business and a lot of drama.
Well, Ultimate Fighter is definitely going out on a limb. If all the fights go 16 seconds or less, so it's going to be pretty boring. But
that's a pretty quick card, yeah.
Well, we'll see. Stay tuned to Janet TV for more stories on women's sports. This is Coach D, and you're listening to Janet TV on the radio.